So, Mike, product of Andover, Massachusetts, obviously 4-year starter at Vanderbilt. What attracted you to the Vanderbilt program and really Coach Corbin?
So I knew from day one that I stepped on campus that I was going to be at Vanderbilt. The way they run their program, their communication, their accountability, everything that they do is top notch, and it was something that I wanted to be a part of. And so I decided from that moment, even though if they didn't know it, that I was going to be a part of that program, and it was a chance to get away from Boston, from Andover, to kind of have something for myself and have my own career and pave my own path a little bit.
Love it. So, tell us a little bit about that culture. You arrive on campus, you're a freshman. Talk a little bit about what Corbin was able to instill in terms of just teamwork and camaraderie, and really kind of coaching you up to be a leader, but also a man.
Yeah, that's what he does best is, you may be a good baseball player turning into a great baseball player under his wings, but you're also going to learn to be accountable, be a good person, play for the guy next to you, in front of you, behind you, and you're never going to be giving up an inch with him. And he made you feel that it didn't matter if you were folding clothes, if you were hitting homers, if you were erasing chalkboards, whatever it was, that job was always important. And so he let you know that every step of the way, everyone mattered, and you invested in that, and you believed in it, and that created the environment of success.
So you get drafted out of high school, decide to go to Vanderbilt. You have the opportunity at the end of your junior year, you get drafted by the Mariners, and they offer a $300,000 signing bonus. Obviously, for a kid that came up your path, that's a really tough ticket to turn down. What was that process like? What was that moment like in your life to have to really make a decision on, do I take it now or do I stick it out?
So that one was tough. The way it's supposed to work is it's a long process where you negotiate, you go back and forth for weeks on end, and they say, start off at 200, come back at 250, and it all got minimized to the last 2 hours. And so they said, we'll give you 200 grand. I said, it's not enough to take me away from my last year of school. So they come back 250, and I'm starting to call my agent, my grandfather, try and figure this whole thing out and say, what's the right thing for me? Meanwhile, my mom and my wife are downstairs crying. They don't know what's going on. So I'm like, there's a lot. I'm freaking out. I'm like, all right, what do I do? Do I do this? And so finally I tell them I'm not going to do it. They call back and say, we'll give you 300 grand. So I'm like, that's a lot of money. That's life-changing money.
Yeah.
And so I called my grandfather and said, here's the situation. He said, well, at that point, I'm comfortable with you doing whatever is best for you. You make your decision. Just let me know when you're done. I was like, okay. So I called my agent and I said, all right, let's do it. And he goes, are you sure? I said, no, I'm not sure. And he goes, okay, so you don't want to do it. I was like, no, I can't do it. He's like, all right, I'll let him know. And just calls back, and that's how that ended. And then ended up with the Orioles.
So you get drafted in the 14th round by the Orioles, 2013. And follow-up question to that is, what was your signing bonus after your senior year with no leverage?
25 grand and a one-way plane ticket.
So a couple packs of gum and a used washing machine, but you had to pick it up.
Exactly.
You get drafted in 2013, 14th round by the Orioles. You show up, have a short season. Let's talk about your first full season in the minor leagues. Obviously, it's a very different environment from that Vanderbilt team where everyone's pulling on the same rope. Everybody has your back. The guy next to you will take a bullet in his shoulder for you. Now, all of a sudden, you're in a bullpen, you're in a locker room where it's a job and it's cutthroat, and these guys, your competition, and you're taking food off their plate. Talk about that juxtaposition.
It changed completely. Like you said, everybody's trying to move in one direction and trying to better the program that's been there before them. So you step in there day one and you want to make it better. Now, it's not necessarily the case when you get to pro ball because everybody is out for themselves. They want to be the most successful. They want to make the most money. They want to beat you, even though they're on the same team. So they don't care if you're 0 for 3 they want you to be 0 for 3. You know, they want you to be making errors. They want you to be hungover and not being able to perform. So they'll influence you in any way that they can. And that's what's hard to understand until you get to that big league level, is that throughout the minor leagues, everyone has the same goal, and it's hard to root for the guy next to you. So now, taking what I learned from Vandy and understanding that there's a bigger picture, that's probably what gave me more success in the grand scheme of things, and understanding that I do want the guy next to me to do well, because this is a team sport, and you can't learn that in the big leagues. You have to already have that ingrained in you, or you're never going to be successful. And so it was really nice to have that leading up to the minor leagues, but it was also a complete shock to see the guy waiting for you to get hurt, or hoping that you go over or get ejected or do something stupid.
Right.
So it's a different environment for sure.
So over the course of 6 seasons in the Orioles system, you played 710 games, 2,600 at-bats. You're playing 140 games in 148 days each season. You're going from Greensboro to Hagerstown, Buffalo to Toledo. You're riding on a Greyhound bus to stay in a Best Western with a roommate. You know, during the course of that time period, what were some points of pain, and what were some points of growth in that phase of your life?
Yeah, some of the pain is physical, from being cooped up on a bus for 10 hours and sleeping in odd positions. And then there's the times where you show up to Hagerstown and you go and your bed's a mess, you have bed bugs, and you just feel like you're legitimately in a horror film, and you just can't find a way to sleep, but you know you need to. Your roommate doesn't speak the same language as you. You're trying to figure out, how am I going to get through this? And those are the moments where you have to dig down and figure it out for yourself, and you have to lean on your past and your experiences and say, you know, I have a goal. In order to get there, I have to go through this. So you find a way to put up with it, and then you just have to kind of grind it out from there and make sure that you're putting one foot in front of the other so you can eventually run and then jump.
So you finally get the call up, and, you know, unbelievable, you know, overnight, you're up the entire night trying to get from Sacramento to San Francisco, trying to get some sleep in between that 6-hour window to be dressed and at bat in the matter of hours. You know, you go 0 for 3 in your first game, but that slump doesn't last too long. So let's cue the video. Every pilot has their first landing.
This could be it. It could be it. Heads up, kid. Get back. Got him. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. Well, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. Unbelievable.
So this video is a little bit of a microcosm for the first 25 games of your major league career, right? You're doing some really good stuff, but the team's struggling overall, right? It's a roller coaster of emotions. What's that first month even like for you?
Well, you know, just like the video, it's a roller coaster. You know, it's okay, this is great. I just got a hit, you know, even though I thought I popped out to left. And then all of a sudden, okay, oh, God, this is not good. I'm about to be thrown out. Now I have to walk back and kind of hang my head saying, like, all right, well, I should be happy I just got a hit, but I just got picked off, and now I got to face my manager. This is not going to be good.
Right.
And as a good manager should, he just tapped me on the butt and said, hey, you're good. Don't worry about it. Keep hustling. So that was one of those things where I learned that making the mistake is okay with good intent. You know, trying to help the team, trying to hustle, trying to do what's right, and just kind of caught an unlucky break, and that's how it went for a little while. So I had to understand that failure was part of it, to be okay with the failure as long as I'm working as hard as I can and trying to help the team win and doing it the right way, then things will eventually start falling my way.